What are the department's expectations of heads of mission in relation to how they reflect on Australia when representing their country? Minister or department?
Our expectations are that they will faithfully represent Australia, that they will accurately represent the sort of country we are. Those of them who are engaged in social media, which may possibly be your interest, Senator, are expected to do so actively and creatively and make a positive impact.
So what are the department's expectations, though, of heads of mission in relation to how they do reflect on Australian states and territories in particular, cities and towns when representing our country?
I would say accurately and professionally, but if you'd like to tell me what your particular interest is, Senator, I'll do my best to answer more specifically.
Okay, thank you. Just this week there have been 2 days of Defence Summit talks in Darwin, and this week the Northern Territory Chief Minister spoke about defence and northern development and how they're inseparable, just as northern development and Aboriginal participation is inseparable, and we could be launching rockets into space from Arnhem Land within a year. However, speaking at the American Australian Association's annual benefit dinner, where Dow Chemical Managing Director Andrew Liveris was honoured, Ambassador Hockey said that Darwin was, and I quote, barely a city. Does Ambassador Hockey's statement reflect the view of the Australian government?
Well, Senator McCarthy, that is not the view of the Australian government, but I'm not aware that Mr Hockey has said that. But well, Senator Gallagher, the fact that something may be widely reported in the media is absolutely no proof of its accuracy.
Not once, twice.
But the department can approach Ambassador Hockey and also we'll take that question on notice.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. So, given, and there's certainly been a lot of concern in the Northern Territory, the Lord Mayor of Darwin, Convat Scala, says the comments are uninformed. Given these comments have been made publicly, will Mr Hockey be counselled about the language he's used in reflecting on Australian cities and towns?
Well, as I've said, Senator McCarthy, you say it's a given. It's not a given as far as I'm concerned because it hasn't been verified. But we'll take the matter of question on notice.
You may not have heard it, but clearly a lot of other people who were present did.
Well, you've said it's been reported in the press, so...
Minister's taken it on notice.
I've taken the question on notice.
In Minister Bishop's media release, Diplomatic Corps, Far North Queensland on the 14th of May, and I quote, about the Diplomatic Corps, an insight into the diversity and dynamism of Queensland's economy so they can better inform their home countries of the many trade and investment opportunities available. Has Minister Bishop ever taken the Diplomatic Corps to the Northern Territory?
Senator, there has not been a visit to the Northern Territory yet, but I can say that there is one under active consideration.
There is one under active consideration.
Yes,
could you expand on that?
Actually, Ms Sachs is just reminding me that the last time one was held, you asked about Minister Bishop, but was 2004. So some time ago, I would personally say that I think the Northern Territory is overdue for a visit by the Diplomatic Corps. And I know, but you were asking about Northern Territory, were you not, Senator?
That's right.
Yeah. So we visited Far North Queensland this year.
I'm sorry, Ms Adamson, I confused you. The confusion was all mine.
Not since 2004 is the answer. These are not held every single year, but Minister Bishop has been very keen to do them, and I mean, it will be for her to make an announcement, which she typically does actually at the DFAT end-of-year reception. The Diplomatic Corps, waits with bated breath to know where they might be able to travel the following year. And although no final decisions have been made, I know that a visit to the Northern Territory is under active consideration.
So 2004 was the last time. That's a long time.
I think the but it doesn't happen every year, that's the thing.
It happens every 12 years.
Well, no, what I mean is there isn't a Diplomatic Corps visit every year.
Does, so you're talking about the possibility that it's obviously on the radar. Does Minister Bishop plan to give the diplomatic corps an insight into the diversity and dynamism of the Northern Territory's economy?
That is always one of the underlying objectives of these visits, Senator. And of course, in addition to states and territories, there are regions of Australia which are able to provide the sort of visit that you described, and that was why the Foreign Minister hosted a visit by the Diplomatic Corps to Far North Queensland this year. So
she wouldn't, or Minister Bishop wouldn't consider that Darwin is barely a city?
Well,
like Mr Hockey?
Well, as I say, I'm sure Mr Hockey is not of that view, and I'm sure Ms Bishop is not of that view. Ms Bishop loves Darwin.
Northern Territory readers are not of that view, I've got to tell you.